I was dreaming that I was driving an Escalade Platinum, old body style, and I was with Ken. I pulled into the parking lot at Lumbertown, and that's about all I really remember about the dream. From there, I seem to remember something about being in some kind of a trailer park and not doing something for my dad or whatever, and him being pissed. That's about all I remember. That dream right there, I recorded on my voice recorder, which is also what I use to record the audio for these videos. And that's just an example of how I review basically my memory throughout the day of a dream that I've had. It's pretty simple, actually. The dream that's in that recording that you just heard is really strange, of course, that's what I always say, but I know that I was driving down one of my old streets where I used to live. It's not quite a neighborhood, but I'm just kind of driving out of town, and my boss that I work with, another boss, for some reason he was with me in the car, and it just so happens that vehicle was an Escalade. For some reason it stuck into my mind that it was an Escalade Platinum. However, it was the older Escalade Platinums, the 05 and the 06. And what I remember is driving down the road, and I said to myself I should probably open the sunroof because it's nice outside. And I was fumbling. I looked up and I was fumbling. I was looking for the buttons, and I hit a button, and then I thought to myself, no, that's for my garage door. And I could picture my garage door opening. So I hit it again because I wanted it to close. And then I'm just kind of looking up at the buttons, and Ken, who's my boss, he looks over at me and he says, I think it's that one right there. And then he said, these high-end luxury cars can be really complicated. There's so many buttons, so many bells and whistles. And I agreed with him, and finally found the button, pushed the button, and the next thing I knew, my car actually has a sunroof. It's not an Escalade, but my car has a sunroof, and I could hear the sound when you're driving down the road and you open your sunroof is sliding backwards. I actually could hear that sound, that sound of the sunroof opening. But when I looked up, there was no roof. It was completely open, and I looked forward, and I could see the A-pillars, but it was as if the whole top of the Escalade was completely off. And I thought to myself, wow, this is great. They really make them great now, referring to the features that basically your whole roof can come off. And I start to drive a little bit faster, and this warning light came on that I was using up too much gas. So I let off on the gas, and I started driving up this hill, and I said to Ken, I said, we're never going to be able to hit 5 miles per gallon going up this hill the way that I'm going. And he says, well, and he kind of turns around and he says, there's no cops anywhere. Floor it. And so I floored it, And the next thing that I knew, I was picturing, which is weird because I was sitting in what was an old body style, a GMT 800 Cadillac Escalade. And when I looked down at the gauges, it was from a brand new, the '07 through today Escalade gauges, instrument cluster, and it was gone, and I could see the thing in the middle said like 1 mile per gallon or something. And I got to the top of the hill, and the truck stalled. And I said to Ken, I said, well, now we're busted because the thing is going to start screaming that we were using all that gas. And I said, I'm going to just put it in neutral, coast it all the way down to the bottom of the hill, and see where we end up. And I end up pulling into the very first job I ever had, just a local lumber yard. I end up pulling into that place, and I pulled up to the gate. I coasted in, pulled up to the gate. I looked over to my right, and there was another Cadillac. It was a car, and it looked like a CTS-V, from what I could tell, because I thought to myself, that thing's as fast as a Corvette. And Ken's sitting there, and he says, well, I'm going to ask that guy if we can borrow his car. I'm sure he's not going to mind. We've got an Escalade. We're all in the same kind of family. It almost felt like a camaraderie or family or whatever you want to call it. And so he hops out, and he goes over to the window, and he knocks on it. And it was, and I can't remember the guy's name for the life of me. He was in the Abyss, and it's gonna bother me. But anyways, the window rolls down just like that one movie. I am so horrible when it comes to movies. I'll have it underneath the video for sure. But the scene was, he was in the car. The scene was when they got pulled over. They're in the Chrysler 300, I think is what it was. They get pulled over by that cop, and the window rolls down, and he leans over, and he kind of leans up the window and says, "Is there a problem, officer?" or whatever. But anyways, that's what I was looking at, that scene, sort of. The guy kind of rolls his head out and says, "Is there a problem?" And Ken said, "Yeah, we need to borrow your car because we're out of gas." And I'm sitting in the Escalade with my my hands clenched on the steering wheel, thinking, "This is never going to work. This is never going to work." And then I hear a knock, and Ken's like doing this. So then we hop in that car, but for some reason I hopped in the back seat. I don't know why. Ken was driving. We started to pull away, and I heard this bang, and I turned around and I looked, and the Escalade was on fire. And I said to Ken, I said, "There's no way we're going to be putting out that fire. Let's just get out of here." And so he says, yeah, let's see if this thing is any faster than the Escalade. That's about when I woke up, was right then. And yeah, it was just really weird. But recently I was going on YouTube, and I was looking at some old videos from Car and Driver or whatever, and I just so happened to see some of the Escalade videos they had on there, and because I'm really into cars and so on, but that just popped into my head. Why my old job popped into my head, I'm not sure. And that movie, I really don't know. I haven't seen that movie in years. I don't know why that movie popped in my head either, but nonetheless, it was pretty funny. Pretty funny dream when I woke up. I got a little humor out of that. So, good dream. I pretty much remember it all. Nothing lucid, but hopefully.